Welcome back. Today I'm going to try to solve some puzzles on chess.com as part of my daily chess development. In my last puzzle solving video, I made it over 2200 for the first time in a long time. So I am pretty pleased with that, but some of those puzzles were pretty difficult. Just 2 of them took almost 20 minutes. And if very many more puzzles start doing that to me, I'm going to strongly consider resetting my puzzle rating and starting this, puzzle run number 5. I've been on puzzle run 4 for a little while. But for now, let's just do this one. I'm going to try to use my checklist. For example, we will look for checks first. I don't have any checks in this position that I see. None of my rooks or bishops or queen can check. So we look for captures. This is a capture. Here's a capture. Here's a capture. I can also take this pawn or that pawn. So I have a lot of choices when it comes to captures here. There's another capture there. Normally what I would do with checks and captures is evaluate all of them. But this seems like a lot. At least I don't have to evaluate checks here. I don't think I want to take this pawn. Not only can they take back pretty easily with either the pawn or the knight, but also that removes, one of the pieces in front of my king down here, so that doesn't seem like a good idea. However, if I don't, they could, I guess, take me, and then I would have to take back, and I would still lose a pawn in front of my king. So I'm not sure about that. As far as the pieces go, if I take this knight... Wait, let's go back to the pawn, because that knight is defended by this pawn. Okay, so if I take this pawn first, I guess they could take with the knight, and then I would have to take their queen, and then they could check me and fork my king and rook. But they would have to take my queen at some point, so maybe that's something worth considering, taking the pawn first. And if they take with the e-pawn, then I'll get this knight for free. Oh, my queen's in danger. Wow, that's probably the first thing I should have seen, is that my queen's in danger. Because if I take this knight, and they take my queen, and I take their queen, it's a check, they could take back, then I would have to move my rook, and we came out even. What if I take this knight first, and take back? All right, this is the kind of puzzle I was talking about. It's going to take a long time for me to sort this out, and I'm going to have to pause the video for a little while and look at it, I guess. All right. Well, I guess this is one of the downsides of doing puzzles on camera. That's kind of embarrassing when I miss one, especially if some of you have already spotted it. However, since I've started this channel, I've tried doing puzzles off camera, and it turns out that's actually a little bit harder for me because here I'm forced to talk out all the moves, but I really don't know what to do. I'm pretty sure this is the first move, but like I said, once they take back, I'm not sure what to do. Should I take here first? Because I think they would just take back, and then I would have to take the rook. But, okay, what if I take this knight, and again, assuming they'll take back. I don't know, they might not take back, but let's assume that they do. I could take this pawn first, because that pawn is, defending this knight. They would replace it by taking with their b pawn. Oh, but then that would still be defending the knight. Okay, well, what if I then gave up the rook? They would take back, I assume, and then I would put my bishop here, where there's no pawn defending that knight, only the queen is, and the queen is then pinned to the king. So the bishop would be skewering, through the queen to the king, protected by my queen, and I don't know what they would do then, because I would get the queen, so it'd be worth giving up the rook, right? Let me do the math real quick and see if I can keep up with this here. I take the knight, so I'm up 3. Wait, are we even right now? Yes, we are, except I have the bishop pair, and they have 2 knights. Okay, so I go up 3, they take back, and we're even. I take the pawn. I'm not even going to count pawns because that's ridiculous. So we're still even. And I take this pawn and they take my rook. So they're up 4 points of material. If we count that second pawn, I've given up a rook. They're up 4. But then I take this knight. They're only up 1 point of material and they're about to lose their queen for a bishop. Does that make sense? Now, that all falls apart if they do something different at any stage in here. Like if they don't take back, maybe there's some other move that I haven't considered. Like, oh my. I think I come out ahead on this. Okay, they did take back, and I think this has to be next, because right now if I take here, they take back, and I think we calculated that I come out even that way. I'm going to take the pawn with my pawn. Okay, they did take with the pawn, so is giving up the rook a good idea here? I think we did the math that when they take back, they'll be up 4 points of material, and I take here. And then I go up a queen for a bishop, which gets me 6, so I will only be up 2 points of material at that point. I don't know. Okay. Oh, well, that I didn't expect at all. Okay, that changed things. Does this still work then? Because maybe it doesn't matter what piece they took the rook with. I take the knight because they're up 4 points of material, right? Okay, so I take the knight and they're only up 1 point of material. I forgot about the knight. And that's a check, and it's attacking their queen. Ooh, that's got to be right. It's got to be the bishop, right? Not the queen? Okay. And then take the queen for the bishop. Oh, wow. Theme was doubled rook. Well, my rooks and theirs were on the back rank, each of us, so I don't know that doubled rook had anything to do with it. Fork, double attack? What was forked? Oh, the king and the queen at the end. I thought it was going to be a skewer because I thought the queen was going to stay there and they were going to take back. And a pin. What was pinned? I don't know. That's extra confusion that I don't need. Okay, I mean, we got that one figured out. So let's go on to the next one. Hopefully it won't be quite so hard because I've already spent more than 10 minutes on my end. They've attacked my queen, but wait. Oh no, I can't move my queen because it's pinned. For a second there, I thought I had checkmate on G7, but I don't. Oh my. Well, I'm going to lose my queen on the next turn. So what can I do? Oh, I can check with the rook right now. And even though my queen is pinned and cannot move, it's still technically defending the rook. Okay, so I check. They only have one legal move. And then I bring the rook back and it's check from the queen. No, wait. Maybe I don't bring the rook back. If I bring the rook back, it's check from the queen, but they can block that with a pawn or by taking the queen. But yeah, that's my only check, and I should have started with that. I should have started with my checklist. What if I then take on h7, which will be a double check, queen and rook, but then they would take it, and I still can't move my queen. Ah man, for some reason that just sure seems like it should be the best move. What if I take it, they move over, and then I go to f7, taking that pawn, so they can't block with the pawn, and it's a check from the queen, but then they would take the queen with check. I don't think that's it, because then what do? Do I block the check? I can't block the check with the bishop because it's pinned. Get out of check. Well, this is frustrating. That just seems really opportune that my rook and queen are lined up with the g7 pawn, but maybe that's not it. Maybe there's a capture. Maybe I'm supposed to just take this rook, but then when they take back, that's check. Then I block the check. Suppose they would take, and I would take back with my pawn, and then they're just, wait, would I be ahead then? Hold on. If I take the rook, because I have more pieces right now. I have the same pieces they do plus a knight and a bishop. So what if I take their rook and they take back and I block? They might not take. They might do something else. But if they did and I took back, I would have a rook and two minor pieces for their queen. I wonder if that's it. I mean, that might be it. I do know that some puzzles start with a queen or rook sacrifice. But what would they be able to do? And let me ask that question. If I take here, they take back with check. I block the check. I don't know which rook I would block with, but if they took, I would take with the other rook, so it wouldn't matter in the end. And I would have one rook and two minor pieces for their queen. What would they do then? Their A and C pawns aren't going anywhere just yet because my pawns are blocking them off. But what if, yeah, because my only rook left would be here on E3. I suppose they could start pushing pawns down through here. I can't really get at their queen very easily. I would probably have to get my king off the back rank so the bishop could move. Bring my rook over here, put the bishop up like this, but then they could just run across to the other side. And I don't know that I could stop those pawns. I don't know. That's probably even. Where else can I go with the rook? If I drop it anywhere back, if I check and they move over because they have to, and then I drop it back, say back here to attack their queen, then they block the check with the pawn or take my queen. And then I could I couldn't take their queen because I would be in check. What am I missing? I covered this way. I covered that way. I covered all the way back, and it really, I don't suppose matters how far back I come. They can take my queen with check. But what I didn't cover was going forward. Okay, what about that? I take here, they move over, I go forward, which is a double check, so they can't take my queen. They have to move and take my rook at the same time, and then I check over here. Is that mate? Oh boy, why didn't I think of moving forward? Okay, let's try that. It's either that or taking the rook. Well, I came up with the downside of everything else besides going forward. Is there any downside of this? They take my rook, come over here. They can't block that. They can't take it. And they can't move out of the way because my queen's covering that square. It's got to be that, right? Oh, wow. Mate in 3+. Okay. Double check. That's good. And sacrifice. I did sacrifice the rook. Okay. I think the themes are spot on here. That's a really hard puzzle, 2298. I don't know if that's the highest rated puzzle I've done because I wasn't keeping track and I don't always remember to see, to look and see what the puzzle is rated. So I might have done some higher than that, but that's gotta be, one of the highest. I also don't know what the maximum puzzle rating is. I don't know how high they go, but I'm gonna start paying attention to that because I'm starting to get some occasionally close to 2300. Okay, that is 20 minutes my time. Next puzzle. Okay, we have a king that can't move. My rook is cutting this off, my knights are cutting those off, so if I could check the king now, it would be over. But I can't check the king now. I mean, I can, but if I check the king now, like with the knight, then those two squares aren't covered anymore and it can just move. Again, probably missing something. Checking with the knight, whether on f2 or c2, stops guarding, the two squares that the knight is guarding on the back rank right now. And of course, checking on, did I say c2? Checking on b2 also keeps the rook from guarding this whole rank. Checking with the rook lets the king out. I'm pretty sure it's not taking the pawn. Pretty sure it's not. Oh, it might be taking that pawn. Is it taking that pawn? I don't think so. Look at this. Look how close they are. Maybe it's just moving over one to get behind that pawn. What would they do then? Oh, they would probably go take this one, and then I'm not going to be able to stop those. Okay. Okay. So yeah, if I had another piece right now, like a light squared bishop, that would be nice. If I had, say, a light squared bishop, sitting right over here someplace, I could just swoop in with it, and that would be checkmate, because my rook's cutting this off, my knight's cutting that off. King could not move. But I don't have a light squared bishop. Or if I had another knight, had another knight over here, they could swoop in and check. How can I check the king without giving up those two squares or any of these? If I check with the rook, I'm giving up, well, my king is still guarding two of those, but I'm giving up that square if I check with the rook. No, I didn't look at all the checks. I can check with the rook right here. Is that mate? Because my king would be guarding the rook, and the rook then would be protecting the squares next to it. Maybe that would be mate. Oh my, I have a mate in one, and I almost didn't see it because I was not counting all the checks. This is a safe check. That's mate in one. Oh wow. That one's rated pretty high. And it only has a 50% pass rate. Can you see that? No, it's right here. 50% pass rate. Wow, I wonder what people played instead of that. Because I wasn't going to play because I didn't know, what to play. I was going to keep looking. I wonder, did people play check down here? Did people check with the knight? Wow. That was tougher than it should have been. But already I was a little rattled by the first two puzzles. Next one. Okay, again, let's look at checks first. I have a check here on G2. I think the king could just take or get out of the way. I guess I should evaluate those. If it takes, I would have a follow-up check, but then it would get out of the way. Then I could check again, and then they could block with the pawn, and I would have just given up a rook. Okay, well, what if I check and they move over? Then I just want a pawn. What about captures? I can't capture their queen, but my queen is about to be in danger. Look at that. If they go to D8, that's protected by their queen, and it's kind of a fork of my queen and knight. Did I say knight? It's a fork of my queen and king, and I would have to take the rook, and then they would take back, and I would have lost my queen for a rook. Maybe it's moving my queen somewhere. Where? What about down here? That's threatening mate, right? That pawn is pinned, so it wouldn't be able to take me, but it could just move up one. If I went here instead, it could still just move up one. Yeah, I'm not sure on this one either. What else can I do? I can threaten their queen, but I think they're still going to do this check where I would have to take, they would take back, and then I wouldn't be threatening their queen anymore. I could block their rook's path. Maybe that's what I should do. Block their rook's path down there. But then they could just trade for it, take back, and then they would win a pawn out of that deal. No, they wouldn't. The rook is there. So what if I block the rook's path? What does the opponent play then? I don't know why I'm even considering that. That's kind of a defensive move, and that's usually not the answer to puzzles. And if that was a good move, why not just get my queen out of here? Because then when they checked me, I would just get out of check. But then they would be threatening mate. Okay, so maybe that wouldn't be as good, but maybe this would be. Okay, I paused the video for a while and I thought about this. This isn't winning. It might keep me from losing. I don't think this is winning. Here's the thing. If they take, now I could take back, I think, with the rook or the pawn. But if I took back with the pawn, which is protected by my rook, so they wouldn't take it with their queen, that opens a path to my queen to pick off this pawn. But their king is still safe. My king is not as safe, but it's kind of safe, I guess. I'm saying I can always come out here, and we would each just have a queen and a rook. So I don't think that's the answer. It doesn't have the feel of the answer to a puzzle. But I don't know what else to do. I'm going to run through the checklist again because I can't figure anything out. The only check that I came up with was this. And I came up with if they took back, I checked again, they would just go to the corner. And then I can't check here because that pawn actually has not moved. Or they could just go to the corner in the first place. And I don't have any captures other than that pawn. And the only threat I could come up with was this because that pawn is pinned. But that pawn can just move up and then I don't have anything. This keeps that pawn from moving up, and it's a check. But then what do I have? Well, this is frustrating. Wait. Oh, sorry. Something went through my head for just a second. I thought, oh yeah, that's it. And then it disappeared. That's frustrating too. So this is my only check. Oh no, I know what it was that went through my mind. On the next move, I need to look for checks too. And I didn't. I only looked at one check. Do I have other checks after they take back? Yes. I would have two checks with the queen over here. Probably not h3 because then they would take that too. Yes, I have been forgetting that on each subsequent turn when I guess what they would play, I have to do the same checklist that I did on the first turn. If they move again, my only checks are here and here, but I would have the threat, I think, of putting the queen on h3, which is threatening mate. I don't think they can stop it. But if I check here and they take, I can put the queen on g4, which is a check, and covers all of these squares, so then they would have to go back. And then, what checks would I have then? Sacrificing the queen, or here, I could then check on f3, and they would have to come back, and then I check with the rook. That kind of looks like a poorly drawn engineering problem or something, but anyway, I don't know. And now I've spent, I think, 10 minutes on this puzzle. They just moved over. What did I say that I would do if they moved over instead of taking? Because if they took, I was going to check, but they didn't take. Did I say queen to h3? That was several minutes ago, even if it was only less than that for you, because I've edited out a bunch of gaps. Okay. I think if I put the queen in h3, it protects the rook. Can they stop mate? Because I don't think I should check again immediately, right? They can still check me rook to d8. I would get out of check. They couldn't check me. Well, yeah, they could technically check me again on the next turn, but then I would take it. Then they could check me again and I would have to go back. Then they could check me again and I'd have to take that too. But I don't think they can stop the mate threat. Oh, I hope that's it. Oh, I didn't even think of that. They just checked me by doing that. I should just take it, right? Or should I get out? If they were willing to give up the queen here, that means they're probably going to be willing to give up the queen here. So if I move out of check, they're probably just going to take this. So I think I should take the queen. But if I take the queen, they can check me again. And I get out of check? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to take it. Oh, boy. Well, I'm exhausted. My brain is exhausted. That one only has a 44% pass rate, so I feel pretty good about it. I'm curious as to how bad it would have been if I had just gone over there. Was that bad? They should have played g3 now or f3. f3 would have kept me from putting my queen there later, I guess. Or rook f to e1. I don't know what that would have solved. Maybe gave their king another way out. Okay, but for whatever reason, this is what gave up the mate in 15. Oh my. Okay, so we took here. Oh, I thought it was going to be in their best interest to take, but it makes the mate much longer if they move over. Okay, so they move over. Queen to h3 is the only move, and their best move was actually to come over here and take the c-pawn. Oh, I didn't even think of that, because it guards there. What would I have done if they had played there? Rook b to g6. That's this one. Oh, I would have lined up another rook, and I still would have had mate in 12. Oh, if the puzzle had gone that way, I never would have found this move. Oh my goodness, what? And it says they would have checked me, but how would I have found that one? And that's a huge difference between -4 and mate in 12. So in a puzzle, it would have had to have gone there. But instead, they just took this pawn. And if I had gone to hide, I don't have a mate anymore. Really? What can they do if I go over here? They can check me, but can't I just block that with the rook? It says they're way ahead if I do that. Oh, because my queen's hanging. Oh, so I take their queen and they take my queen. And now I have to get this rook out of danger to either g4 or g5. Okay, well, I didn't see that. For some reason, I thought they wouldn't try to check me again. I thought they would come this way, but it just made more sense to take the queen. Okay. All right, that part made sense. And now their next move is to check me with the king, and I would move away, and they would check me, and I would take it, and then they would play f3, and I would have mate. Thank you for spending your time here. Again, I feel like, you know what? No, on this one, I don't feel lucky like I did a couple of videos ago where I was solving puzzles. I think on most of these, we reasoned our way through it. I think patience is the key. Just being patient, not giving up, keep looking at the moves, keep evaluating the moves. It means that it takes longer. Speaking of taking longer, I've got to go pick up a kid from school. So anyway, thank you for spending your time here, and I'll see you next time.